this weekend, fueling more speculation. He's considering a run for president in 2016. Hard to miss him yesterday, the first guest ever to appear on all 7 Sunday shows. Look at that, as he tried to bring an immigration reform bill past the finish line. But at the same time, he deflected questions about 2016.
Can the nominee of the Republican Party in 2016 be a champion for an immigration reform policy that provides a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants in this country?
I think that the nominee of our party needs to be someone that has answers to the problems our country faces. And immigration is a serious problem. You know, I haven't even thought about it in that way, and I know it's hard to believe for those of us who live and breathe politics. I haven't. I really haven't.
Senator, you clearly are at least considering running for president in 2016. Isn't this, whether it's the budget, pardon?
Let's bring in Amy Holmes, anchor of Real News for The Blaze, and one-time speechwriter for former Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist. Angela Rye is a political strategist and a principal with Impact Strategies. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So, Amy, I think we could say he was playing a little coy about this, but is this sort of the, I mean, that was an amazing picture, the 7 box, as we call it here, him on all the 5 English-speaking shows, and then also on Telemundo and Univision. Is this the rollout of the 2016?
Well, it's certainly the rollout of Marco Rubio. You know, it used to be called a full Ginsburg, which was actually a bit of a sordid term if you remember that Ginsburg was representing Monica Lewinsky. This time we're seeing a politician run the gamut for a positive reason, which is to promote himself and raise his profile. And don't forget that, you know, come 2016, someone who could be a major competitor to him in even just Florida state politics is Jeb Bush. So clearly Marco Rubio wanted to raise his profile and on an issue which clearly he thinks helps him.
Well, let me play another clip from Marco Rubio. He was asked about being out front on the immigration issue. Here's what he said.
Do you think this would help or hurt Marco Rubio if he perhaps ran for president in 2016?
You know, I haven't even thought about it in that way, and I know it's hard to believe for those of us who live and breathe politics. I haven't. I really haven't. I have a job. My belief has always been that if I do my job and I do my job well, I'll have options and opportunities in the future to do things, whether it's run for re-election, run for something, or give someone else a chance at public service.
Angela, this is his first big, meaning immigration, his first big policy initiative, and obviously one fraught with potential landmines. Rubio's presidential future, is it tied in some ways to the success of this immigration reform bill?
There's no question about it, Chris. There's no secret that the GOP is struggling severely with communities of color, and Latinos happen to be one of those huge blocks. So to have Senator Rubio not only out front on this issue, but a part of the Gang of 8 championing this potential plan is major for them. I'm sure the reasonable minds among them urged him to keep quiet a little bit last week when he talked about separate hearings from the Judiciary Committee, markup, etc. And this week he's had to come up and say, you know, this is not amnesty, although he said something totally different in 2010 and when he had his potential immigration solution. So I'm sure that this isn't the last that we'll see of Marco Rubio, but I'm confident that the reasonable minds among the GOP have urged him to kind of take a step back and really champion this plan to ensure up his chances for running in 2016.
Well, let me get your thoughts, because you've both done this, on strategizing the way forward. If, unlike what he says, he actually is thinking about a run. Our NBC News Wall Street Journal poll that was released just on Friday found that 28% of voters see Rubio in a positive light. 16% have a negative view. More than half, 56%, are neutral or, frankly, just don't know who he is. So, I mean, how do you start to sort of overcome that, Amy? How do you get your, I mean, 7 talk shows.
I was going to say,
but in many ways, you're preaching to the people who already know who Marco Rubio is, right?
Well, I think doing the 7 shows was certainly a very good start. I mean, what other senator, junior senator, are you seeing with this type of profile on this type of issue? But to go back to whether or not championing comprehensive immigration reform is politically problematic for Marco Rubio if he is thinking about 2016, I'd like to remind viewers that, in fact, the GOP already nominated someone someone who did, and that was John McCain back in 2008. And George W. Bush, he of course pushed very hard for comprehensive immigration reform. I worked for Senator Frist when he was majority leader, working with the president to try to get that done. So there is this, false narrative out there that the GOP is intransigent and unwilling to support
candidates. But this is the first time we have seen the real possibility of this. It's not just about supporting it, it's about having the leadership to be able to move forward and actually get something done.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And if Marco Rubio, Angela, wants to make a serious one for president, at what point does he have to sort of start to quietly reach out to donors, to operatives? It seems like the schedule moves up so quickly now. We're in such a different world. At what point whether it's Marco Rubio or any other Republican for 2016, really start to have to make their intentions at least quietly known? Or are they already?
I think it's pretty well known. Then with the Sunday shows, there's 2 Spanish-speaking shows that he did this week. I think that he's well on his way to making it very clear, abundantly clear, even if it's not clear to himself, that he's definitely in it for a run. So I don't think this is a shocker to anybody if he really throws his hat in the ring.
Angela Rye, Amy Holmes, thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Checking the news feed this morning, new developments in the Steubenville rape case. The Ohio